Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome to Tarot Thursday here on the Firefly Hollow YouTube channel. I'm very, very grateful that you're here joining me tonight. We're going to be looking and pulling our monthly 4 cards for Firefly Hollow's community. The first card will be, what is the theme overall for this coming month? Second card, what's not in our power to change? The third card, what is in our wheelhouse? What is in our ability to make change? And then finally, what's the next best step in order for us to move forward and achieve some success based upon the theme in question? Tonight, I'm going to be using an old friend, good old Rider-Waite tarot deck, probably the most common of all of the different tarot decks, especially the most recognizable when it comes to imagery and symbolism. And before we go any further, I just let you know that I'll take a quick photograph, and when we're all finished here tonight, I'll take a quick photograph of the 4 cards, and then I will post a link here on the YouTube channel to my Facebook page. And that way you'll be able to take a look at the cards again if you would like to. And of course, you're going to be able to look at the recording as needed. All righty, so here we go. Let's create a little bit of sacred space here. What information does the Firefly Hollow community need to know? Basic theme. What is not in our power to change? What is in our power? And what's the next best step? Our theme. Interesting. First card that comes up is Justice. And it's really quite telling that justice happens to be reversed here in this particular sense. Justice in and of itself is kind of that concept of cause and effect. It's that idea of literally justice. But it can also be the concept of decisions that need to be made, or what is our responsibility here? And I find it interesting that it's reversed, because a reversal can, of course, when I teach tarot, I teach that a reversal in these cards can represent one of many different things. But always that if the card turns up, the energy is there. If it's reversed, though, it's being blocked in some way, shape, or form. So it's either blocked because the energy may be too new to be able to really feel like it's taking hold. It could be too old. It could be the effect is already passing. It could be that it is an effect or an essence, an energy that is present, but it is not being used properly. Or in some ways, it could be that this is driven inward. When we look at reversals these days, I start to think a great deal about taking the energy of the card and looking at it within ourselves. Okay? So when I think of justice, and when I think of the situations that we're in right now, I think we need to be aware, perhaps, of where we need to be just, where we need to be fair and take responsibility for our own issues. Also, that concept of what is our responsibility and what isn't. Going along the same lines of the next card that we'll be pulling, what's not in our power to change? What is it that we stress over and that we make ourselves so miserably unhappy about that we essentially really have absolutely no say or control over? So in terms of justice, I think we need to really take a very good look at ourselves. What in ourselves do we need to take responsibility for, rather than projecting onto the people around us or onto the situations around us, onto groups around us? Where do we need to step up and acknowledge that, yes, this is my thing to handle. So that's what's coming to me at the moment. We'll see what the other cards bring up and how that may adjust it. So the next card, what is not in our power to change? Another major, we have the Lovers this time, also reversed. So we're looking at the idea here. The Lovers talks about, well, to be honest, the Lovers is the sixth of the major arcana cards, right? The fifth one is the Hierophant, which talks about conformity. It talks about what is the group understanding of the right thing to do, right? What is it that we need to do to conform with our community in order to be accepted? But then we move on to the next card, and that's the Lovers. And that asks us, but what's our opinion? What's our own belief in this particular situation? What's my personal value system and how that value system informs my opinions? So if it's driven within, perhaps it's time to look at where are we responsible, and also what is our personal belief system. So let's marry these two together. Where is it that we need to let go of the group and instead look to ourselves? What is it that we ourselves believe? What are we bringing to the environment? What's the element? What's the particular chemistry involved here that we bring in order to mix with somebody else's concepts? Because that's really what a relationship is, correct? That's what a pair of lovers is. A positive relationship is one in which two people, each very individual and unique, bring the best of themselves to the relationship. A bad relationship is one in which one person has the opinions and the other person gives up themselves, gives up their own concepts and just, well, I'll just go along with what they say. That's not a relationship. That's not a partnership. That's a despotisy. So I think we're being asked with this card, what is not in our power to change? What's not in our power to change is to give up our own belief system. And that's a really interesting concept to think about. Also, what's not in our power to change is someone else's personal belief system. We can't change what other people think. We have no control over that. The only thing we can control is how we react to other people's beliefs and actions. These are pretty powerful cards so far. All right, third card. What is in our power to change? And here we have the Six of Cups. A very sweet, caring, emotional card. The Cups always talks about the water element, which is the concept of emotions, the concept of intuition, of flow, of being able to have that beautiful feeling of connecting with other people through our emotional intelligence, so to speak. And when we're looking at the six, it's that card of innocence. It's that card of goodwill, of caring for other people. With the Six of Cups, we're looking for that simpler time. You notice we have two children here sharing with each other. And so it's that idea of where can we go back to that simpler time? Where can we reach for that emotional innocence, that emotional honesty that had been in place in the past? That is in our power. We do not have to become jaded, and we don't have to become cynical. We can reach out to others with love. We can reach out to others with goodwill. And we can have that innocence of belief in one another. And then finally, what's the first best step in order to make all this work? We have the King of Wands. I love the kings of the deck. The court cards are the ways in which we utilize the energies of each of the suits and put that into work in the world around us. The kings utilize the energy of their deck to make positive change, to make concrete change, utilizing the raw element of their suit. In this case, the King of Wands, we're talking about the raw element of fire, courage, inspiration, So the king will make change by living his beliefs, by being courageous, by being inspirational, by being that person who has a creative force to them and is able to be enthusiastic and bring people along with him. So let's look at these 4 cards again. Our theme is that of justice reversed. We need to look within ourselves for that part of us that needs to be just and hold responsibility for our own actions. What is not in our power to change is somebody else's personal belief system, especially if it doesn't agree with ours. It's just not up to us. What is in our belief system is coming at life with that sense, that feel of goodwill, of love, of sharing an innocent, caring, and emotional connection with other human beings. And the way that we can make change in the world around us is by having a positive outlook, a creative problem-solving skill, being enthusiastic, being inspirational, and being courageous, having the courage of our beliefs and moving forward from there. Those are some pretty hefty cards. Out of 4 cards, there's 78 cards in a tarot deck. Now, when you think about the fact that out of 4 cards, we pulled 2 that are major arcana, there's only 23 in the deck, that's a pretty powerful reading. So think about it. Where can you reach forward? Being courageous, being inspirational, and lead with your heart in order to make sure that connection is able to be made. I wish you the very, very best in the month ahead. And I would love it if you'd let me know how these cards tend to work for you over the course of the month. Again, as I say, I'll get a picture of these and I'll post them on my Facebook page. I will put a link to that on the YouTube page as well. Have a wonderful evening, and I wish you the very, very best. Namaste, y'all.